Hello, uh, lesson 1.5 Angle Relationships. And this lesson will be done in three parts. The first part we will learn about the special angle pairs, and the second, their relationships, those angle pairs, and what are the relationships or the properties of them. And the third one is going to be about perpendicular lines and their properties. The first angle pair are adjacent angles. So by definition, what are the adjacent, and why do you need to know the definition? So you can, if you have the definition in mind, you can find those angles in the figures. There are two angles that lie in the same plane and have common vertex and a common side, but no common interior points. What does that mean? So you can see there are two angles. This angle number 1 and angle 2 in this first figure. They have a common vertex and they have a common ray, and there are no common interior points. For the angle 1, the interior points are right here. For angle 2, interior points are right here. So they are not sharing any interior points. I'm not going to go in details about non-examples, just the definitions. So the second, linear pair. Linear pair is a pair of adjacent angles, non-common sides that are opposite rays. So what are those? What does opposite rays mean? Opposite rays means that they are going in the opposite direction. You can see these are the non-common sides in this case. This is a common side. Okay, the non-common sides are opposite rays. Opposite rays, they will form a straight lines, the two opposite rays. So you can see here angle 1 and angle 2 are linear pair. They form a linear pair. Okay, vertical angles are the two non-adjacent angles formed by two intersecting lines. So you can see here the first one example, there are two intersecting lines. So 4 and 3 are vertical angles. Those are vertical angle pairs, and 1 and 2 are vertical angles. Let's do our first example. Use the figure at right for the following questions. Okay, the figure, you can see there are three lines. Name two adjacent angles whose sum is less than 90 degrees. So adjacent angles by definition, they share a common vertex and a common ray. So if we take this angle, just look at this one. If we take this angle and this angle, these two angles, they are adjacent angles. Okay, but the problem is that they should, if you add these two up, they are going to be more than 90 degrees. So we have to find two angles that when you add them, they are less than 90 degrees and they are adjacent. So you can see here these two angles and this angle. These two angles are adjacent angle, and if you add them, their sum is less than 90 degree. 55 plus 30 is 85, so we can take these two angles. So name those two angles. For this type of question, you just have to name them. Angle, for naming them, and you use three letters for the angle. The first angle is B, A, and C. So BAC, and the second angle that is adjacent to this is CAD. Okay. Name two acute vertical angles. Okay, uh, for the vertical angles, you know that the two lines when intersect, the opposite angles are vertical angles. Okay, so here they say name two acute vertical angles. Acute vertical angles we can use if you use these two lines. You can see that 55 and 55 here are two vertical angles. If you use the other two lines, this 30 and 30 is also going to be vertical angles, but we just need to give two angles. So the two angles are CAD, which is this one, right here. CAD is this angle, and the other angle is this, which is vertical to this, and angle NAF. These are the two acute vertical angles. Name two angles that are, just erase all of it. Okay, next is name two angles that form a linear pair. So for the linear pair, they have to form a straight line, so like this straight line. So we find any two angles that form a linear pair. So I can choose this ray that forms these two angles or this one. So now we have two angles. One is here, the other one is here. Just name them. So what are their names? Their names are DAC. So angle DAC, and the second angle is NA is the vertex, NAC, and angle NAC. Okay, next one was angle pair relationships. So what are the relationships? Vertical angle, the relationship between the two vertical angles. So if this angle, what are they are congruent to each other. What does that mean? If this angle was 50 degrees, if CBE is 50 degree, the vertical to this is ABD, that will also be 50 degrees. So, okay, next is complementary angles. If two angles are two angles with the measure that have the sum of 90 degrees. So if two angles add up to 90 degree, they are called complementary angles. Like here you can see angle A and angle B. When you add these two up, they are 90 degrees. So we say angle A and B are complementary angles here in this example. Similarly, supplementary angles, they add up to 180 degrees. So if this angle and this angle, if you add these two up, they are supplementary, and they are 100. They add up to 180 degrees. And if they are adjacent, they form a linear pair. You can see here, if the two angles supplementary are adjacent angle, they are linear pair. Angle in a linear pair are supplementary. So this is another, the two angles that form a linear pair, they add up to 180 degree and supplementary. Find the measure of two supplementary angles if one angle measures 6 degrees less than the measure of the other angle. Okay, in this type of examples, we let one angle be x. So if there are two angles, so let first angle number 1 be x. We let it. Okay, if first is x, what is the other angle? It says that the one angle measure is 6 degrees less than the other. So if we say this one is the other angle, so angle number 2 is going to be 6 degrees less than this. This is x degrees. So the second angle will be 6 degrees less than the first one. And we know there are supplementary angles. So angle 1 plus angle 2 should be equal to 180 degrees. And we use this equation and substitute and solve. So 1 plus 2 is 180 degree. Angle 1 is x, plus angle number 2 is x plus x minus 6, and they add up to 180 degrees. X plus x is 2x minus 6 equals to 180 degrees. Add 6 to both sides. 186 equals to 2x, divide by 2. So x will be equal to 93. But the question is to find both angles. So we know that angle 1 was x, so angle 1 is simple, it's going to be 93, but angle number 2 will be 6 degrees less than this angle, so it's going to be 93 minus 6, which is 87. So these are our two angles. Second example, find the measure of two complementary angles if one angle measure 6 degrees less than 5 times the measure of the other angle. So same thing, we will let the first angle be, let angle 1 be x, other angle is x. 6 degree less than 5 times. 6 degree less than, so we have to multiply this first. So angle number 2 will be 6 degree less than what? 5 times the first angle. So that will be expression for angle number 2. Same thing, angle 1 plus angle 2, but this time it's going to be equal to 90 degrees because they are complementary angles. Angle 1 is x, substitution, and angle 2 is 5x minus 6, which is equal to 90 degrees. Now solve it. X plus 5x is 6x minus 6 equals to 90. Add 6 to both sides, so it will be 6x equals to 96. Divide both sides by 6. X will be equal to 16. Okay, but that's not the question. The question is to find angle 1 and angle number 2. So now angle number 1 is x, that is going to be just 16, but angle number 2 is 5x minus 6. So 5 times 16 minus 6. So 5 times 16 minus 16, if you use your calculators, it will be 74 degrees. Okay, in part 3 we have perpendicular lines and their properties. The most important property here is if the two lines are perpendicular, they form 4 right angles. So all these angles are going to be 90 degrees. This, and this. Question is to find x and y so that KO, where is the line KO, is this line KO is perpendicular to KO and HM are perpendicular. So these two lines are perpendicular. What does that mean? That there are 4 right angles. This angle is 90, this is 90, this one is 90, and this one is 90. Okay, so using those properties, we will write equations and solve them to find the value of x and y. Okay, the first equation for y, which is so simple because y, this whole thing is equal to 90 degrees. So we can write 3y plus 6 equals to 90. Solve for y, minus 6 from both sides. 3y is 84. Divide by 3, divide by 3. Y will be equal to 28. That is the value of y. So 9x is this angle and 3x plus 6 is this part. Together they add up to 90 degrees. So 9x plus 3x plus 6 equals to 90 degrees. So same thing, minus 6 from both sides, and 9x plus 3x is going to be 12x. 90 minus 6 is 84. Divide by 12, divide by 12. X is going to be 7.